Billy Bob Thornton co-stars in Eagle Eye, a fast-moving thriller about a computer gone wild, if you will. I won't give anything more away. And it's always good to have Billy Bob Thornton up on the screen and back with us. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you, Jeffrey.
You're constantly running in this movie. You're doing like what Tommy Lee Jones does in The Fugitive. You're running after the guy. When you see that on a page, do you hope for a scene where you're not running, where you're allowed to be yourself sort of on screen?
Yeah, I mean, I've done mostly those talking movies, But I have to say, every now and then, you pop one of these in, it's a lot of fun. And I'm not getting any younger, so I get out of bed a little slower after a day at work on one of these. I sure do, yeah.
How'd you get out of bed the day you were at a tryout for the Kansas City Royals and forgot rule number 1, never turn your back on a third baseman if you're talking to the first base coach, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I learned that lesson pretty well. I got this collarbone broken, and that was kind of the end of that, and then I became a roadie.
You were a junk ball pitcher. What was your out pitch?
Well, I had a really good slider, and I still do. I can still throw that one. My curveball's not what it used to be.
It's true of all of us.
Yeah, I didn't. Back when I was playing, we didn't throw as hard as they do now.
Did you work at an answering service once?
Yes, I did.
I can just hear somebody calling and you saying something like a character you play in one of you. What the heck? That sounds so like a bad Santa kind of guy.
Well, I was a bad answering service guy because I would get in conversations with the people sometimes, and they just wanted to know what their messages were.
This movie can show the dangers of computers gone wild, if you will, but it's the kind of movie where you don't have to look for messages. You sit back and get entertained by the technology and by the continual chase sequence. Did it come across in the script or just while you were doing it?
Well, actually, the script was very smartly written, though. It was a very tight script. That's what attracted me to the movie, that and DJ Caruso, the director. But the thing about the movie is you have a lot of action thrillers that are just that. And this one, you get the fun and entertainment of it. And at the same time, it does kind of raise some questions for you.
It certainly does. Yeah. Which do you hate more, Shakespeare or plastic forks? Is it plastic forks you hate?
No, plastic forks are what I like.
Oh, you like plastic
real
forks and you hate real silverware.
Oh, yeah, I can't do it.
Is that why you hate Shakespeare? Because they occasionally use silverware in it? Or?
I don't hate Shakespeare. I just think he's overrated.
Somebody said of you in 2000, Billy Bob Thornton works so much he forgets to eat and sleep. Now, that was 8 years ago. Is it still true now that you have an Oscar and you're a big star?
Well, it's so funny you mentioned that. These glasses aren't on because I'm trying to look cool.
You don't need glasses for that, pal.
I didn't sleep much last night. I always have fun when I come to New York.
Uh-huh. What do you do when you come here besides these kind of things?
We went bowling last night.
That was going to be my first guess.
Yeah.
Really?
Bowling.
Where do you go?
Down at Chelsea Pier. It's one of those sort of...
never mind Broadway, never mind, a chic restaurant,
Well, they got a private room private lanes back there. It's
now,
kind of fun.
you read my first baseball book while you were on and we didn't know each other then, or maybe we had once or twice met or something. You were doing a simple plan and you were out in the woods somewhere in a trailer. Right. What do you do for the most part? We'll keep writing the books, but what do you do for the most part to relax when you have long times between scenes? What do actors do?
To tell you the truth, I always, I'm not a very demanding guy on the set. I just ask that I have satellite TV, and I watch baseball. That's or sports in general. Whatever season it is.
You're looking at a defeated Cardinal fan here.
Yeah.
You have 4 or 5 movies coming. One with Halle Berry, one with Clive Owen, one with Julia Roberts, and one. That's a comforting thing to an actor. There is a temptation when you have so many yet to be released to take it easy and take off for a year or two. Actors sometimes do that, but you want to go where the work is, and if something appeals to you, you feel you might lose it otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, well, you take the good ones. You don't want to let a good movie slip away from you. And it's funny you mentioned those two because those are ones that come out on the internet and stuff. They say I'm in them, and I'm not doing either one of those movies.
Right, exactly.
But I've got a couple in the pike, and I'm going to direct again pretty soon. I've got a couple I want to direct. Yeah,
what have you learned from the films that you have directed? I know you haven't done much behind the camera in a couple of years.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I've learned that it takes a lot of time out of your life, and if you're going to do it, pick one that you really care about because it's a year and a half of your life.
Would you direct yourself?
I'd do that again.
You have done?
I have, yeah. I would do that again.
Of course, to great acclaim. You worked at a Shakey's Pizza Parlor and told them you could cook. You couldn't even make toast, could you?
I had no idea how. I just needed a job. And my first night, they had a softball team come in, and I didn't realize that everybody had gotten fired or these teenagers that worked there had quit or whatever. And I was there by myself and with the manager, and it was a nightmare. And I didn't know how to do any of that stuff, but I learned.
I can picture what you're like on a set with other actors. You'll talk about a lot of different things. You've lived a fascinating life. You've lived 6 different lives with different careers. But then you got to focus on the work. How quick was it on this film to get in touch with Shia LaBeouf, who was the hot young star of his generation, and just fall into the sync of the role?
It was actually pretty easy. And the great thing about Shia is he's, for his age, he's a very mature actor. And he's probably the best actor at that age I've ever been around. And it was very, very easy to get into it with him.
Does an actor from his generation come to you for advice?
I don't know if he really came to me. He doesn't really need it. I mean, he might have asked me for advice on, some, extracurricular activities.
Your grandfather was a forest ranger who ate what he killed, which I love.
That's right.
Would you ever do that, to make a movie about him, for example? There's a story there, perhaps, that kind of a character.
He could definitely be a character in a movie. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
This is Billy Bob Thornton. The Kansas City Royals' loss is the movie's gain. His current movie is called Eagle Eye. And finally, I have to ask you this before we close. You work with Bernie Mac in Bad
Yes.
Santa. What are your memories of Bernie?
Bernie was just a fun-loving, happy guy. I mean, he was a very smart guy. I liked Bernie a lot. It was pretty shocking when he died. We knew he was sick, but it still doesn't, ease a blow. And when you think about it, he and John Ritter, who had all their scenes in that movie together, both gone. And it's a really tragic loss with both those guys.
This is Billy Bob Thornton, the co-star of Eagle Eye, a fast-moving adventure thriller, and coming in 3 or 4 or 5 films sooner or later, and an Oscar winner to boot. It's good to have you back here.
Good to see you, Jeffrey.
All right, wait till next year.
Absolutely.